Lights. Do we have a camera? Yeah, we have a camera. All that's left now is for the action. Hey guys, Cezius Airsoft here. Today we've got a review of the VFC Avalon Saber CQB mod VR16. This is a gun released by Avalon, or VFC actually, it's their Avalon series, as a competitor for Crytek. Does it compete? Let's find out. That's why you're watching this review. So first off, let's go over everything that you would get in the box when you go ahead and open it. First things first, you get the gun, obviously. If you don't get the gun, you've been scammed. You have two iron sights, front and rear. They're adjustable for windage and elevation. And these iron sights are locked, so you can push on them all you want. They're not going back down unless you press this little button right here. And then once you do that, come down, and you press it again, flips back up. So they're pretty good iron sights. They're made of polymer, and they're honestly not that bad. Along with the gun, you also get a QRS mid-cap magazine. It's a pretty nice mid-cap magazine. I have had some feeding issues with it. The last few BBs won't feed sometimes. I don't know if that's just the magazine I have, but I don't think so. One of the issues that I also have specifically with the QRS magazine is that sometimes when you put it in, it doesn't lock and you kind of jiggle it in. So that's one issue, but that only happens with QRS magazines. With my other Elite Force mags, I don't have that issue generally. So that seems to be an issue with the QRS mag. You do have on the gun an ambidextrous fire selector. So you have it on both sides. One thing I do have to say is that the fire selector for you lefties is a little bit stiffer than the fire selector for the right side. You also get a lovely QRS stock. One issue with this stock that I have noticed is it does wobble a little bit. You can hear that, you can see it. It doesn't really make much of an issue when you're actually in the field, but just like holding it, it feels just kind of off. Like that's a small detail that they easily could have fixed. I don't know if it's an issue with the buffer tube on the Avalon or if it's the QRS stock itself. Now onto the QRS stock, the actual features of it. It has plenty of battery space. There are two tabs. Just pull those up, opens up. It's got plenty of battery space both in the buffer tube and in the rear of the stock. You can fit a small LiPo in there. And then you also have two removable side caps, and you can easily stick in your nunchuck style batteries in there. Also, if you're not running nunchuck style batteries and you have like a Titan or a LiPo and you stick it in here in the buffer tube, you can go ahead and easily remove these to make it a little bit lighter and also to just make it that much cooler. Alright, let's move on to the rest of the gun. Alright, you also get a QRS grip and their patented Thunderbolt trigger. One thing I do have to say with this grip and the way the trigger is set up is that when you're holding it and you're not using gloves, this gun is relatively heavy and it's all CNC'd aluminum. And when you're using it, the gun kind of slowly slides down into your fingers, and I have had issues with my middle finger rubbing up against the edge of the trigger guard, and that has caused some issues. It's kind of giving me blisters and things like that that aren't fun, but nothing that won't like stop you from playing. The whole body, as I said earlier, is completely CNC'd aluminum. It is very sturdy. This thing, it will not break on you. You drop this anywhere, it won't. Nothing's gonna crack, nothing's gonna break. I've dropped this gun several times in the field, not a scratch. The coating on this is a very high quality coating. It does not scratch off, no scratch marks anywhere. It's just honestly really nice body construction. It's a nice color. One issue though with it is that the front rail, this is mostly for people with OCD, the front rail is a different tone of like brown than the body. This is more of a tan, this is more of like a dark earth. So, one thing. Alright, now moving on to the internals. On the inside, you do have a rotary hop-up and a standard version 2 gearbox. The slide catches to the back, to the rear, and that allows you to easily adjust your hop-up without having to hold the slide back and do weird, wonky hand movements. I'm not an acrobat, that's hard for me. So you do have a rotary style hop-up deep inside there, I don't know if you can see it. And it does have a marking on the inside that tells you which way it is increase in hop and which way is down in hop. It does have a bolt release that does function. Slides it back forward. Forward assist doesn't do anything. It's just for show, like on 99% of airsoft guns. Internally, the motor is pretty nice. I'm not exactly sure what specs it has, but it's definitely better than a lot of the lower end guns. The CQB variant I know has a high torque motor for good trigger response, and I did upgrade it. I did put a Godzilla 5000 high torque motor in here to make it even snappier. Now let's go on to the issues that I have with it. First thing, the stock, as I mentioned earlier, it does wobble around a lot. Second thing, the weight. It is a solid block of aluminum basically, and it gets pretty heavy when you're carrying it around the field. Another issue is this tip that they provide you with. I don't know why they put this tip on here. It's supposed to be a breather tip, slam into the side of a door and blast away, but you can't really do that in airsoft, so I don't know why they went with this. It's massive, it's bright, you can't really see much with it, and also it prevents you from removing the front rail. So if you wanted to swap out rails for like Picatinny or something, it prevents you from doing that in the first place, which makes it even harder to remove than it already is. Plus, there's no really good grip surfaces on it, so you can't really use a wrench or anything to pry this off. It's just a very difficult tip to remove. I don't know why they decided this was a good idea, but they did. Alright, so I've used this for around a year now, and honestly, it's a pretty good gun. It shoots pretty well. I had an older version of this one that broke, and I don't know why it broke. It just decided to give out on me on a rainy day, and VFC and Humorex USA, which is the parent company of VFC, let me send it in and gave me a brand new model, complete with magazine, sights, everything. So that was very nice of them. It does come with a 1-year warranty, which is longer than most companies will give you for a premium product like this. However, this new one hasn't stopped on me yet. I've had it for about a year now. Hasn't given up on me, haven't had any issues with it. And another issue that I have had with my new one is the hop-up. It shoots a little bit to the right, but that's probably just my gun because my previous one didn't do that. It shot straight as an arrow. So that's one thing to look out for. Not sure if I just have a bad apple or if it's the rest of the VFC lineup. But as far as it goes, that shouldn't be an indicator of most of these guns. I hope not. Anyways, that concludes my review of the VFC Avalon Saber Mod VR16. Thank you guys for watching. Hit that subscribe, like if you enjoyed, and Cezius Airsoft, signing out. Fantastic. That was really long.